Hi and welcome to Wrap-Up from day 4 of the Global Speaking Summit. It was such a fantastic event overall. It's been a real challenge to try and bring you my high points, but I'm going to bring you some words of wisdom from 3 of our day 4 speakers today. I'm going to start off with Ilya Greskovic, and I didn't really know what to expect from Ilya, a German speaker, not renowned for fantastic humour, but actually we've got some brilliant speakers in the Global Speaking Federation who demonstrate fantastic wit, warmth and wisdom, and Ilya's definitely one of them. So there was loads of content in Ilya's talk, but one of the things that I'm going to share with you today is something that hadn't occurred to me before, which is give your audience more of the stuff that they like. So in order to find out what that is, first of all, you have to ask them, which of the things have made an impact? If somebody comes up to you after the speech and says, that was fantastic, ask, do you mind if I ask for a little bit of feedback about what exactly it was that did it for you? One of the things that Ilya realised is that he had a catchphrase he uses in his talk, which is about when you're faced with a decision and you can choose to say no or you can choose to go with it. And he said, if you choose to go with it, you say, oh yeah, in a really big old way. And he spoke to a client and this client said, oh yeah, we've been using the oh yeah in all of our team meetings. Whenever we commit to something as a group, we say, oh yeah. And it's become a bit of a thing that we've taken from your talk. Now, Ilya had loads of content in his talk. He didn't even realise that that was a thing. But he thought, actually, this obviously really resonates with clients, so I'm going to give them a bit more of it. And as serendipity would have it, he was at his desk and his little daughter had left a little Hello Kitty button. You pressed it and it said Hello Kitty, and he thought, there's my next gimmick. So Ilya invested a shed load of money, went to China and found a manufacturer to make an oh yeah button. So now whenever he does a talk, his clients buy hundreds of these little things, one for everybody in the audience. And whenever they have a decision to make and they want to commit to it, they say, oh yeah. So what can we take from this? Well, be on the lookout for things that really make an impact on your customers and give them more of that stuff. So Ilya's oh yeah, that button has become a thing and an extra source of revenue, and it's helped him with his branding and his sense of Ilya-ness, if you like. So have a look at your talks and think, which elements really impact on your audience? Which catchphrases do they take away with them? And build on those. Give them more of what they want. Fantastic learning from Ilya there. Second speaker, very, very different. In one of the breakout rooms, this chap is a divorce lawyer. Okay, of all the thrilling subjects, and I thought I had it tough with contract law. So David Pissarra is a divorce lawyer, and he started marketing himself by putting together a podcast, and his podcast is aimed at men because in the US men tend to get the sticky end of the stick in divorce proceedings. So David started using his podcast to educate his target audience, and it drew clients towards him. It also provided a huge amount of help and support to the people that he wanted to work with. And as he put it, it's so personal. You're the voice in their ear. You become a friend to these people, and there's a perfect opportunity not only to help and support them, but also to give them the feeling that they really know you. Now, David's format is fairly straightforward. He has 3 main chunks to his podcasts. The first one is delivering some education. So he builds his credibility from sharing his legal expertise for the first 10 minutes or so of his podcast. He then puts in a little bit of a commercial. So he gets somebody else on Fiverr or some other similar platform to record a little advert for him, usually trailing an event, maybe a public workshop he's got coming up or some other product that he wants to sell, and he'll insert that in the middle of the podcast. The last part of the podcast is an interview with somebody who has something interesting to say to his audience. So this does a number of things, gives him great value content, broadens his reach, and also helps to elevate his status, because if he's choosing really high profile contributors to interview, then his status gets elevated along with theirs. So really interesting input from David there. In terms of the technicalities, He said you can definitely put your podcasts on your own WordPress blog, nothing to stop you from doing that. You can put it in your WordPress website, but he recommends libsyn.com, which some of you might have come across before. And the main reason for that is Libsyn is built for bandwidth. So you're not going to get any of those stuttering bits as people start listening to your content through your own website if your hosting's perhaps not quite up to scratch. But Libsyn means that it can be streamed in real time, really good quality download speeds. So he records his audio, uploads it all to Dropbox, and then he gets an editor to put it all together, top and tail it, and put in some little jingly bits. And those little jingly bits, I don't know if it's your style or not, but as he said, it does help to cement your corporate branding. It helps to make it feel a little bit more together, just topping and tailing it with a little bit of something. And he reckons on 35 to 45 minutes of a podcast, which, as he puts it, is about as long as you want to spend on the treadmill or the exercise bike or in the commute to work. And that's the great thing about podcasting. It allows people to enjoy your content and learn from your content while they're on the move, while they're doing things that they would have been doing anyway. Now, my final little nugget for you today is from the marvellous Paula Smith. Now, Paula was on the reception desk for the Global Speaking Summit, obviously representing New Zealand there. And I thought she was one of the admin team. I didn't realise she was an absolute superstar. Now, as well as being incredibly kind and helpful, Paula shared some amazing insights with us about one of the ways that she generates some really good solid revenue throughout the year. Because as we all know, keynoting is fabulous, but it can be a bit of a feast or famine activity. And what Paula's identified as a great source of bread and butter revenue that also helps you to build your brand, build your client base and build your network is putting together paid mastermind groups. Now, I belong to a mastermind group, and actually since GSS I now belong to 2 mastermind groups because with a group of other speakers from different countries we've put together an international mastermind for ourselves. What I haven't ever looked at is the idea of a paid mastermind. So the way that Paula runs these is she identifies a bunch of 6 to 8 people typically who all have particular goals that they would like to achieve, that she thinks would work well together in a group, won't compete with one another, and would have a group dynamic that would be beneficial to all of them. She approaches them personally. She doesn't market or advertise these. She picks up the phone and says, "Hi John, I'm putting together my next mastermind. I think I've got a fantastic bunch and you'd love them and they'd love you. I think you'll get a lot out of it." She has an incredibly high take-up rate. And in terms of fees, she charges 1,000 Kiwi dollars a month. So that's around about 500 quid a month. And if you have 4 groups going throughout the year, that brings an income of $1,000 or 50,000 sterling over the course of a year, which is pretty good bread and butter background. But the key to the success of Paula's masterminds and why she benefits from referrals and from other clients suggesting that others in their organisation ought to come back and take advantage of her invitation is that she starts each session at the beginning of each 90-day semester with setting goals for each of her mastermind members, and they identify what particular things that person wants to achieve over their 90-day period, and Paula and the member commit absolutely to hitting those goals, and everybody in the group commits to helping each other meet their goals too. And she does say, if you want to do masterminds, you have to be absolutely 100% committed to helping the people on your mastermind to meet their goals and do whatever you can to support them. So they have their 1 day a month face-to-face, and halfway through they have a 1-hour Skype coaching session with her where they look at the goals and look at the actions that they're supposed to be doing to help them move their goals forward. So those are my 3 golden nuggets from day 4 of the Global Speaking Summit. And thanks to Ilya Greskovic and David Pissarra and Paula Smith for those. I can't recommend enough that you get yourself out and about. Go to some international conventions. As a member of the Professional Speaking Association of the UK and Ireland, you're entitled to member rates for all the conventions all over the world. There's the Asian Speaking Summit coming up in May. I'm going to be there. Please come and join me. Get online, have a Google, check it out, and let's go and take the world by storm, because there is so much in terms of learning and sharing and networking from the Global Speaking Federation, and I really urge you to just get involved and make the most out of it that you possibly can.